Hi guys. Thank you so much for turning up for the live party for, as they say. I'm thrilled to have you all here, and um, we'll see how it goes for a little bit. Um, of course, I have a few announcements to make, and uh, I suppose we'll get on to that in a little bit. But anyway, if you don't know who I am, DK Daniels, obviously you have to have some idea of who I am if you're at the turn. But yeah, I'm DK Daniels. I'm a YA LGBTQ plus author, and for the 4 or 5 years, I've been writing primarily in this niche. And yeah, I just love writing about teenagers overcoming obstacles and stuff like that, primarily for a gay audience. And this is a book that this is a party for a book that I wrote about 4 years ago, and I'm only finally getting around to releasing it now. I have fewer books that I've released quicker, but I'm finally glad to say that the the book is finally here. Um, but yeah, we're celebrating, as they say, the launch of it. Which, if you just look over there, it's this book we're talking about right here, and I haven't got a physical book yet, so I can't show you an actual physical book. Um, all the For some weird reason, not a lot of shipping to Ireland or Northern Ireland, so there's a shortage of all of these essential um, service. Well, not essential services, but services that we took for granted, suppose, before the pandemic or Brexit. And it's just harder to get these supplies. So I had to order America in order to get my own book. But so yeah, there's that. But I will be showing it to you all eventually. So I can't wait to show you that. So if you're on, like, follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or any of those, I'll be announcing it there so you can see the entire book. But I'll show you the rest of the bookie box in a little bit and what's included in it. Yeah, don't be afraid to say hi. I won't bite, I promise. But yeah, if you have any questions, you can throw them down in the comments there, and I will of course try and answer them as best I can, um, and whatnot, and we'll try get this ball rolling. It's also my sixth birthday today as well, so um, it is. I want to make my first official Irish novel. Uh, the day that I released it be my birthday. But thank you, Ethan. It's so nice to see you. I'm so sad that you couldn't make, but I'm sure you'll make other live streams. And but thank you so much for popping by and saying hello. It really means a lot. I hope you enjoy the book as well. Um, but yeah, and there's my boyfriend saying happy birthday, honey. Actually, talking about my boyfriend, um, this book would not have really been made the whole thing without him. So I have him to thank for a lot of this. If I hadn't have traveled around Ireland at the time, about in 2017, I think it was, the inspiration, because the inspiration is what kickstarts everything. But if it wasn't for him, um, suggesting, hey, let's go on a road trip, we've always been talking about it, and it just happened. And when I got back, I was itching to write something that was setting Ireland for a change. And um, I, I'll actually make a quick announcement as well while I'm at it. I, right here, I'm thinking of expanding the world of what they say even further. So if you haven't actually heard, I am going to write a second novel. I don't want to announce too much just yet, but I'll just mention a title and that there's a second coming. So the title's called So They, and I don't know of a future release date. It'll probably be toward the end of the year, but I just wanted to let everybody know that there will be a second book, and uh, I'm going to work on it as well. And hopefully, after I finish, even if we tried, when I get through Dumbstruck, I'll be able to announce another release date for a possible sequel to You. part two, or you and I part two. But yeah, anyway, so I have a a mock cover here of the cover. You probably can't exactly see it. It's a picture of a boy with a bag, and it looks like he's gone exploring. So, um, the next book is going to be a few years later into the future, I'm assuming, where Setso boy ends up going exploring, and of course we got some other obstacles to work through. But yeah, that's that. Sorry, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I'll mention a few things about the box, and I'll also discuss a few little bits, and I'll read one or two chapters of As They Say, just to wrap it up. But yeah, later in the evening, Damon is treating me to a dinner, so definitely don't want to miss that. I'm a real foodie. But yeah, anyway, if you didn't know as well, As They Say is on half price until January 31st. So if if it's something you want to grab a copy of the book to support me, you can grab yourself a copy there. And yeah, so there's that. And also my two stories that take place, the two standalone stories, Better With You and The Boy from Summer, which are over here somewhere, I think. Yeah, somewhere there. They're two standalones that take place in Ballyoran, the same place, the same fictional town as They Say. And if you're looking forward to reading more stuff and you haven't, well, there you go. There's something else for you to have a gander at. But yeah, anyway, if you read any of three of the books, please don't forget to review stories after you check them out. If you like them, of course, it means a lot to me if you do that. But anyway, I'll have a quick gander in the box here. So you can have a little idea of what I'm going to give away in the bookie box. Now, of course, I haven't got As They Say yet because I had to order away. But in my previous book boxes, I gave some of these boxes away before, and usually they had like 4 or so. But of course, I have other stuff in it now. So, and also because I have a supply and demand problem, I can only give out what I actually currently have in stock of. So, but yeah, anyway, so I'll start with, so it's not just taken it out of the box. It's not presented well or anything like that. But anyway, I'll start with a few of these. So first of all, I'll be sending out a couple of random, like like book cards and stuff like that, like bookmarks, and you'll also probably get like a couple of random covers. I don't really, as such, like one of every cover or or specific covers. But if you want, if I reach out to you and ask if I have that cover, of course I'll pop it in the book. But I guess we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I give out a couple of random covers of what I have, you know what I mean, so that you can, it's just, it's just little accessories that you might like, for different stories, but it's of course just little bits and bobs in the box, kind of fill it up. But I like them. Some of them are nice, and of course some of the artwork is just awesome, and I could not not pass up the artwork because my editors, and also not my editors, my illustrators and stuff like that, they do an awesome job, and I definitely want to showcase that artwork because there was a lot of time and effort put into them. And I'm just really thrilled with the way that they turned out. So, but yeah, I'm really attuned to detail. So that's definitely one of the things that I want to showcase for everybody. But yeah, I also have a few little like mementos and stuff like that. Like this is from A Case of Jitters. And it's just like stuff that you can, if you order a game or like a collector's edition, like little messages for some people and whatnot. And of course, I'm probably relevant to the story. It depends. I'll also include stuff like maps and whatnot to particular stories that I've written. This is from A Case of Jitters. This is the street plan of Old Harbor. But yeah, it's that. Yeah. Most of the maps I actually make myself. Yes, I've made most of them myself. But that's that. But of course, I hope to get around to including these. I haven't made them official yet, but because they're constantly being updated. But I'll give you a version that I have. But a lot of people often ask what my world is like, where I set most of my American stories. And I recently spent some time there, just creating where all the cities and the towns are. I just wanted to share it with people. So this is the northern half up where New Haven is. New Haven is up here and stuff like that. And then you also have Wakefield down here, which is where Dunkirk is set. And then, of course, you have the middle region, which is this here. Yeah. And, St. Clement, which is here. That's where the likes of How I Live Now and You and I is set. I don't know. I just thought it'd be kind of cool for some people, to have them and whatnot. And which side now? There we go. This side, I double printed it. So, and yeah, so that's the bottom region, which is not filled out a lot, but it'll get there eventually. But yeah, I'll continue on with the box, as I said. But yeah, that's just a few of those. I'll include a few of those, as I said, and I also have a couple of bookmarks and stuff that I'll have to try throw them in for that. But anyway, on to the next. I'll get the 2 books. So far, right now, what I have in stock, I can only afford to give you A Case of Jitters or We Are Here. So you can, you pick one or the other or whatever, either Jitters or We Are Here. And I'll be happy to sign it and package it into the box as well, along with As They Say when I finally get asked, As They Say. Because the book is so big, it takes up like two books in its size. So I so it's probably equivalent to like 3 books if I didn't put As They Say, and then I'd have 3 books in the box. But yeah, so there's that. So those 2 books, and then of course I have a few little accessories, just because it's an Irish story and that I'm sending out. I have a like a bamboo mug. You always got to use a bamboo mug, and of course, I'm all about recycling, reusing, and here in Ireland, I don't think we do a brilliant job, but I think we do an all right job at keeping the environment relatively clean and stuff like that. And just a little thought, you could reuse it for hot chocolate. Everybody always loves hot chocolate, and reusable. So yeah, and then anyway, kind of an Irish themed cup that's going in the box as well with the others, and also the lid, and 2 pencils, 2 Irishly themed things with harps and cannons and crosses and stuff like that on it. And I don't know, just a little fridge magnet or something from Ireland. And yeah, it's just a few bits and bobs. I don't think I can put food in the box. I would love to put some food in the box for some folks that have never eaten Irish snacks, because there's a lot of stuff that's here in Ireland that you can't get anywhere else in the world. But I'm not too sure how other countries, their customs or regulations goes. But this is probably the best thing that I could come up with. They have a few bits back, but yeah. Anyway, so I've probably been rambling for a while, but yeah. Anyway, I'll I've pulled a few questions to ask myself in case nobody actually asked anybody. You know, I mean, if you do want to drop a couple of questions down there, you know, I mean, whether it's related to one of my books, it doesn't have to be about As They Say. I'll answer, you know, questions about my other books. So even if it's like how I'm doing today, I'll answer a few personal ones as well. Yeah, of course. But yeah, anyway, I pulled up a few questions that I'll just, uh, you know, just answer, I suppose, just in case, to kind of add a bit of length to the video, and then I'll read a small bit of, As They Say. But oh yeah, before I forget, that the box, you make sure you signed up to my mailing list. It's extended. The deadline for it is extended to 15th of February. So all you have to do is be on my mailing list, and I'll pick folks at random, and I'll reach out to you, and if you want the box, and then I'll find out where I need to send it. But yeah, so that's about it. But yeah, the deadline for that is the 15th of February. So make sure you're signed up if you want a chance of winning that. But yeah, of course I'll be signing them, and so yeah, that's about it. Also, if you're not aware as well, I'm also giving away a free short story called You. I wrote it in December. It was a Christmassy theme. Well, it's not solely Christmas, so it's not solely a Christmas story, but I think it's still a good read. It's first draft, but I think it's fairly clean. It still needs a couple of reviews before I release it officially, but it's only available to my mailing list. If you're not there as well, you should definitely go over to my mailing list and sign up if you want that free novella. It's about 25,000 words, give or take. And it's only available to my mailing list until the 1st of January. After that, I'm taking it down, and it's not going to be available at all then for another year. So yeah, so make sure you definitely sign up to grab that. But anyway, so I think I've mentioned everything. But yeah, okay. So I'll just answer the questions that I've just picked out and just pass a bit of time, and then I've I had to print out my own book here because I could not get my copy, so I can read a small bit, the first 2 or 3 chapters to you because they're relatively short. But yeah, but anyway, I'll answer 1 or 2 questions here. So what is the first book that made you cry? Okay, so a book that made me cry. Okay, that put me on the spot. Oh Christ. Actually, I'm kind of a bit of an emotional, and I'm very in touch with my emotions, and it's very easy to get me emotionally invested in a book, um, or a film, or a game. Um, I'm very kind of open with my emotions, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I've turned to writing, because writing is quite it's quite an personal approach to storytelling. I think it's probably the most personal that I can probably get to storytelling. But yeah, I'm usually always on the edge of my seat, or feeling you know my emotions when a story is, of course, sad. um I believe now, one of the stories that I did feel sad about, um it ending was, what was the name of that bloody story? um uh I can't remember the name of it actually. I can tell you one that I got infuriated with. It's Comic Buddies Billy Chase. Of course, when the characters are going around, and something is so self-evident, it's right in front of you. You're like, God, will you just make the move, or will you just stop beating around the bush? Just do that. And of course, they don't do that. But it's just the way it is. Um, of course, the whole Billy Chase thing with Jimmy LaPlane as well. I think that's Jimmy LaPlane. Yeah. He also has a near suicide moment. And yeah, he tries to commit suicide, and yeah, that was kind of a bit depressing for me. So I guess you could say I was a little bit sad, I suppose, when I read that. I'm cheating here as well, that I've been trying to look over at my bookshelf, and I'm like, Daniel, think. Is there any books over there that you can see that you've read that you can remember crying to? But I can't actually remember. But in truth, I have cried to films or books or media. But yeah, um, like one of them, I got really emotionally invested in. Uh, is okay, take for instance, for a film, is Let the Right One In. I really read that film. And the book. Now the book, I guess I wouldn't say I cried as such, but I definitely really, I guess you could say, I kind of read with the character Oscar, I suppose you could say. Not in the whole murders way, of course, but the isolation part and whatnot. Uh, yeah, in the film, it's he's very lonely and stuff like that, and I felt genuinely sorry and bad for him. That, because he reminded me a small bit of when I was growing up. So that was one of the moments where I was a bit emotional, as you could say, and I guess it's kind of self-evident as well. I took inspiration of that kind of genre and tone as well, and I wrote my own version of Folder X. So, but yeah, there's that. But anyway, um, I would want to know: does writing energize you or exhaust you? Um, it exhausts me, but in a good way. I don't mean like is yeah, I'm sick of writing or such. I find writing very mentally, especially if you're writing a tough scene. You go in full of energy, and when you come out, you're exhausted. I mean, there was some times where I be literally at the keyboard, and I'm writing, and I'm there for like 2 hours, and you're finding yourself crying because characters are crying, and it's getting emotional, and all of this emotional thinking and all that's going on. Not like with a stream of consciousness, where you're writing what's the first thing that comes to your mind. But after it's finished, well, because you've been crying and you've been investing so much energy in this particular scene, you're knackered by the end of it, I suppose you could say. But yeah. um let's see, another question that I can see here. um uh, what authors are you friends with, and how do they help you become a better writer? um I guess I'm kind of a bit of a lone wolf on that retrospect, but I have read quite a few authors, and I think I'm decent friends with some of them. I'm friends with Comicality, as I've mentioned before. Like, he has a huge, prolific work. If you've never read any of his stuff, you should definitely go over there. It's crazy how many projects he has. But yeah, we've even talked back and forth on possibly collaborating on something in the future, but we're still kind of in the early processes of that, so I don't exactly know, whether that will become a thing. But yeah, no, he seems like a great guy, and yeah, you should definitely check out some of his stuff. Anyway, yeah, that's one author that I'm friendly with. I also like Samuel Rowe. You know, the I think he goes by Samuel Rose Sinus, or I don't know how you say his name. He's on Gay Authors. He's a pretty nice person as well. They write pretty good kind of science fictiony stories as well, I suppose, and he also puts some of the characters in, a very amusing situations that are serious at the time but kind of amusing in the book. It's just funny. And also I like Jerome Keyes. He writes some really, really good books. Not only are the characters and the stories very interesting, but it feels like when you're reading one of his books, the worlds are absolutely living and breathe themselves. But yeah, one of my favorite stories by him is Z is for Zombies. Zombie. And when I first read that, I was like, wow, this is actually, it's just this, I was so invested in that story. It's such a simple concept and it's been done hundreds of times, but he definitely brought something new to it that I had never seen before. And I was kind of like, this is actually kind of interesting. But yeah, so that's just a few folks that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, anyway, so the next question. Do you think someone could be a writer if they don't feel emotions strongly? Yes, yes. I think they could be. You don't necessarily have to be an emotional person to write a book, but I guess it just makes you feel more like you're in the zone when you're writing your book or whatnot. So I guess each their own. But yeah, there's that. Okay, I think I've answered like 3 or 4 questions there, but I probably I won't dally any longer than that. So I'll probably make a start on a book, as they say. But if you have any questions, you can, don't be afraid to drop them. I'm just trying to look for stuff to say so that I'm, keeping a bit of time into it, of course. But yeah, thank you so much for turning up either way. But I mentioned to my partner today that this was the longest book at it as well, that I dedicated this book. So yeah, so this whole thing, it wouldn't have been a thing without him. So I felt it was only right to, showcase it to him. But let's see. Oh, actually, while I'm actually at it, another author who I have actually had a couple of correspondences with. That, well, she's more of an illustrator, but our art is fantastic. She actually writes really good comic books. But her name is Lisa Brenner. That's just one of her things. She created. You can buy merch and stuff from like her store. But yeah, she's like children's and teenage fiction, or YA fiction if you want. Primarily, a good chunk of her stuff used to be German. If you don't know German, I don't think you really need to know it, regardless, just to, look at the pictures, because the pictures are self-explanatory in themselves. And oh my God, she's a brilliant artist. Yeah, no, she does do English translations now as well. But you should definitely give her a check out. Her name is Lisa Brenner. She's an illustrator from Germany, and she writes some really, really cool books, and also, of course, draws. I have another one here. That's yeah, that's. But yeah, so her art style is really, really cool, and I guess one of the reasons I took a liking to her is because I like a lot of illustration stuff on my front covers as well. So I guess that. But yeah. Anyway, so I'll give this a go, and I'll just see how it goes, and just give you a bit of a test if you have never read, as they say, before. So it's quick rundown. It's basically about a called Adam Walsh, who's 14, and he's only becoming self-aware of his sexuality, his attraction to boys or the male gender or whatever it is, and he's also trying to gate, his friendships, and of course, trying to keep people happy and just learn new skills in general. Everything that comes with when you're growing up that you've never seen before in your life. That everything is kind of new at the start. But yeah, anyway. Then of course, this young boy from London called Ross, he shows up at his grandparents' house, which is right next door to Adam's, and they are kind of just thrown together, and they end up eventually becoming good friends overnight most. And they start to admit maybe there's a little bit more there to their friendship, and yeah, that's kind of how it goes, of course. And there's a wide variety of folks in there that you could probably love to learn to love. Of course, some will probably irritate you, and some folks who will love you. Thank you. I found out last night about Has to Say being dedicated to me and means so much. Thank you, Annie. I love you too. But yeah, I was really hoping that I'd have a book so that I could actually give you the book, but yeah, that was that. But anyway, I'll get on to reading this and I'll see how it goes. But okay, so I don't know whether anybody who's who hasn't got the book, but if you have the book already and you want to read along with me, please feel free to do so. But anyway, I'll start with prologue. Okay, so note, as they say, love is blind. I can tell you now that is not true. Love is a cesspit of endless struggles and confusions, hence why it is called a cesspit of love. Infatuation is blind. It is short and sweet, but then you move on. It all started one blissful summer when I turned 14, the year I shared my first kiss, and the first time I shared my first sexual experience with another boy. You could say I was a bit on the isolated, living in the middle of the countryside with just my handful of friends and not knowing anything beyond my little world. However, the tale of my friends are a different story for another day. In the summer 1991, yes, the intrepid year of the Hedgehog, Terminator 2, and that blasphemous, depressing song, Everything I Do It For You, my first love with the boy next door. The lad came to stay with his grandparents while his parents were away for a short business trip to England. The two of us sort of became friends, and things progressed from there. I must warn you, though, if you're still reading this, you're reading my diary, which has been long left settled in the bottom box in my attic in London. Pushing 40 now, I can say I'm settled, married, and have 2 children. 25 years are gone, and that's a lifetime ago. I wonder where he is now, and how it turned out. That boy was a real inspiration and a true friend. So let me tell you the story about the year I fell in love with a boy, which could only happen once because, as they say, it's involuntary and only memories. Actually, talking about that intrepid, me and my boyfriend, we have a travel account. If you're interested in other stuff with Ireland, we run a Instagram account together called Intrepid Explorers, where we post pictures from all around Ireland, more or less, showcasing places where to go and what to see, and also sometimes just pictures from us of us just traveling, But yeah, definitely check it out if you're interested in ever coming to Ireland at one point in time. Maybe we can recommend a few places to go. But yeah, okay, moving on. So, The Innocent, the 2nd of May, 1991. I don't know why Eli is such a dick. That was such a down low thing to do. I didn't punch that weird kid from town, the one with the bubbling snot or the greasy hair. Honest. Why can't my mum Just accept the facts. Her son is not guilty all the time. Another topic worth noting, another topic worth talking about is that downright manky smell that the farm spraying all over the fields. They have no consideration for somebody like me who has a sense of smell. I wish the slurry season could pass quicker so things could go back to normal. I haven't gotten much else I haven't got much else to talk about today, so I'll just leave it there. Okay, so Journal 6, the 3rd of May, 1991, Part 1. That cold and callous alarm clock has no mercy on my soul. Why are early mornings even a thing? It's not like I'm in a hurry to go anywhere. I'm on summer holidays. Thank God for summer. I'm not sure who invented it, but I'm happy Ireland gets them. Well, the 2 weeks equivalent vacay that hotter countries get. Did I mention I'm Irish? No. Well, now you know. So, guess this is my 6th diary. Wait, 6th journal. That sounds embarrassing. I know what you're thinking. What happened to the other 5? In truth, I believe those diaries, journals, are downright embarrassing. Maybe in the future I'll clue you in on my life after this journal, but as far as the previous 5 go, forget it. I was like super dumb and too little to understand half of the stuff I wrote about, not to mention my scabby handwriting. So if someone were ever to find this book on a deserted island, like in pirate movies, I want to say I'm Adam Walsh. Just to kill your curiosity, if you've made it this far, I'm 14. I'm average height for my age, but not like huge, like you see those kids like 6'5" in the US who play basketball. I'm closer to 5'5", and that's just an estimate. Who has time to measure the height? I do, apparently, but not so often. I presume I'll get taller eventually, but for now, I'm stuck at 5. I have blue eyes. Mom once said that I could end a war with my striking gaze. It remains to be seen, but then again, I don't want to experience conflict. And that's a cruel fate. In war, nobody wins. You will be hunted down like a dog for no good reason. Didn't some guy say that? It's like a quote. I know, I've read it somewhere, but just like always, my brain takes in the lesser important information. I have chores to do today. Ugh, the effort. It's like a punishment from all the adults. They try and come at us from all sides. They tell us we have to go to school and they rip us with chores. There are even restrictions on who I should choose for friends and what time to be home. Adults should be great and cleaning up after them. Every time I hear an old person brag about how my generation is off the rails, I roll eyes. I had problems getting in bed to write this. It's early, so you should be appreciative if you're still reading. Pirate. Okay, I'm getting cheeky. I like it. Is that weird? My friend Carl said that to me the other day. I'm getting very sarcastic. Who wants to get out of bed on summer vacation? Can you blame me? Okay, drag this out long enough. I need to get a shower and get dressed so that I can start my day. Effort, Adam. Okay. So we're on to the next one. Boys of Summer, the 3rd of May, 1991, Part 2. 2 entries in one day. I'm on a roll. After I got out of bed, I had my shower and sort of spent a little more time in there than usual. I mean, a boy has needs, if you get my drift. How can you know? I sure can't. Once it gets hard, you just gotta do it for the right feelings. I wasn't thinking of anything in particular, and I don't know precisely why I got horny. It just happened. I did kind of get all the stuff all over the tile, so I had to clean up that before I could get out of the shower. It would be so embarrassing if I missed anything. My parents used the same shower, the same room, and with that thought, I'll drop it now. Shudders silently to myself. After breakfast, I did the usual, fed the chickens, and completed some garden work for Dad. The temperature soared. It was pretty hot. I would have loved swimming with the lads down by the lake, but everyone was busy. Two things are good about swimming. I mean, who doesn't like swimming in warm weather? There is the plus of seeing my friends in nothing but their boxers. Most times when we go swimming, it's on the spur of the moment deal, meaning we head off with what we've got on us and shed layer loading by the bank. It's all fun and exciting at the same time. That is until I pop a boner, try desperately to hide it for ages. I think you just automatically check out other boys for no reason. It's almost like a conscious thing to do and compare with each other. And most times when I look, it's just to see if I'm at the same level as them in puberty. Today, I couldn't help myself, or any days in particular. I like comparing how toned my stomach has gotten or how big their bum has gotten. Sometimes I even have weird thoughts about what dicks might look like under the skimpy clothing they. Anyway, after I fed the chickens, Dad came by with a tin of paint and a brush. I was given the mundane task of applying it to the outer perimeter. I didn't bother trying to protest. I wasn't going to get off easy. It had been coming for a while. I wasn't going to go the entire summer without Dad asking me to not do anything. My parents are not the type of people that let you just sit around and do nothing. During lunch, stopped to cool off indoors, and my friend Carl swung by and asked if I wanted to go swimming. And just seeing him gave me a new lease of life. I essentially begged my mum to let me, but it was actually Dad who relented, which kind of surprised me. I shouldn't complain. My parents were enough. They just don't believe in wasting time. And apart from that, I was going swimming. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Though, then the creepy thoughts stuck with me. Of course, I was going to look at the candy on offer while I had a chance. At the time, I thought that the day couldn't get any better. Me and my friends down by the lake. There are four of us, starting with Carl, which, if you haven't read my other five journals, you will have no idea who the hell Carl is to me. Carl is probably my closest friend. I remember the time I met him. We had a dispute over who owned what section of turf. You see, when we were younger, two small gangs used to hang out down by the creek. I belonged to one, and Carwell belonged to the other. And after he hit me one day with a metal pipe in the arm, I went home crying to my mum, and she marched into town and went to the family farm, facing Carl's mother to some sort of squabble. Turns out that Carl was grounded, and to this day I still feel bad for having ratted him out. Carl has a good personality, though. He's loyal and, well, to say the least, honest. Once he's made up his mind about a particular subject or an issue, there was no way you can change his look. Plus, he is a looker. With jet black hair and a nice year round tan, you could easily mistake him for having Italian blood in his bones. Eli was there. He was standing knee deep in the water when I arrived at the bank. Both of us were still on rough terms because everything was sour until the crack started and everyone lightened up. The day was pretty good. Actually, after Eli and I moved past our bickering the other day, he accused me of punching that weird kid, and we both know who did it. There was also Connor. He's a friend of Eli's. Both of us have talked, and he's pretty sound for the most part. Also, he's fucking hot. His blonde hair, his eyes, slim figure. Oh my god, I had to contain myself from jumping him and making out. And lastly, there was this. He's more of a tag-along guy. He's not a prominent part of the group, but he is still fun to be around. And with all that said, they are my main friends. I don't really socialize with many other people other than them. In the afternoon, we lay under the sun in our wet underwear to dry ourselves, but grass has a habit of sticking to the skin, especially if it was recently cut. I think the council department maintains the cutting of the grass, though where the shoreline meets the small jetty, it seems to be done less frequently. The town residents are possibly in charge of the area during the summer months, or maybe a council is lazy. The spot where we hang out is about a 2 minute walk from the park. The fresh cut grass is always dumped up by the castle, and I love the grassy perfume. Once we dropped a small bit, we got dressed. I'll admit I was a little disappointed about it, seeing all my clothes back on, but I guess that meant Candy was coming. 9 times out of 10, when we go swimming, Carl buys a large pick and mix we can all, and sometimes not everyone wants to share, and that leads to a couple of sulking faces. They just gotta learn life not revolve around them. I guess that's all. I can't really think of anything else to say. I'm going to listen to my Walkman for a little while, then go to bed. Night, Adam. Okay, so that's actually the last thing. I thought I printed all the way up to Ross turns up, but apparently I didn't. But yeah, anyway, in the next entry, you Ross arrives. But anyway, there's a little anyway. I hope it was somewhat intriguing. But yeah, I've had a great time with this one. I originally broke the story up. Originally, it was a lot more clumped together, and I thought, by breaking it apart and making it easier to digest as well was also a help. So I remember originally I had 40 chapters in as they say, when I wrote it. Now, of course, now they were more lengthy chapters, but for consistency and flow and making things better, I have 86. When I mentioned it to my boyfriend, he said 86, and I had written like another, I have 40 odd chapters, and I was like, no, it's still the same book. It's just better spread out. But yeah, I know it's a lot of chapters, but yeah, that's that. But yeah, I don't really think of anything else to say. I think I've pretty much announced everything. Thank you to everybody who's turned up. It's meant a lot to me. Hope you enjoy, as they say. I had a lot of fun writing when I did 3-4 years ago, and I didn't realize how good of a book it was until I was revising it for the actual release. I appreciated it more when I was going through it at the time. Of course, when you're writing a book, you enjoy it when you're writing it, but it's not until the editing phase for me when you're actually reading through it and you're like, oh yeah, this is all right. It's not a bad story at all. It's a pretty good story, and you're like, oh, okay, I wrote this, and it's like, oh, okay. That's just kind of my my mentality on the whole thing. It's not like it's not like I wrote this. It's that's, I guess, my mentality on it. But yeah, once it's kind of finished, I try and move on and try with stuff. As I said, I'm gonna. I look forward to the day when I can talk about so they say. But yeah, there's that. I still have Dumbstruck to get through, and even if we try, but I hope to have them finished up in the next couple of months. But yeah, of course, my next big project, well, not one, but my next project will be Dumbstruck, so I can't wait to share that with folks. It's been a long time coming. I can't wait back with Julie and Brayden. If you haven't read that, I encourage you to pop over to my website and definitely check it out. You can find all the links there. It's www.dk-daniels.com. It's a very easy website name to remember the URL. But yeah, anyway, so that's that. So I guess I'll just do the usual sign off stuff, just to rehash some of the stuff we're talking about. Don't forget to check out the other two stories, Better With You and The Bold Summer, which are also taking place in the same world. I say it's half price until the 31st of January, so make sure you get that. Also, It Will Use is a free short story is also available until the 31st of January. All you have to do is sign up to my mailing list. So you should definitely do it before the opportunity passes. It's only available to my mailing list. And also for the Bookie Box competition that I was just talking about, with all of this stuff, all of this um, is available to those who sign up to my mailing list. I have 2 boxes I'll be giving out to random readers that I'll be picking out of my mailing list. So make sure you sign up for that. The closing date for that is the 15th. So don't forget that. And I think that's it. That I can remember. But yeah, it's been fun, guys. Thank you so much for turning up. It's really meant a lot to me. It's been a quiet evening for me Monday because I've been, launching a book or whatever it is. We've been running around with birthday camp and that and everything all day. But I can't wait for a proper dinner and stuff like that. But so thank you so much for turning up. It's been great, guys. I hope you really enjoy the book, and it means a lot to me for you turning up. But yeah, anyway, I'll love yous and leave yous from. So it's a command for now. So hopefully I'll see you with another live stream or something. I might do a couple more in the future if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, anyway, so I'll see us, and thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the book. If you decide to grab a copy, if you do, it would really help me and support me as an author. And of course, don't forget to rate and subscribe and whatnot, all that nonsense that everybody says a million times, and you just like, oh, they're saying it again. But yeah, it applies there. But anyway, so thanks, and I hope to see you. So I'll see you around, and I'll see you on the next when I release the next book. Bye bye.